The Marvel Universe is united under Doctor Doom. Praise be
Finally.
to our newest overlord. Doctor Doom has taken over Marvel Comics, and Doctor Doom is taking over this week's Pals Polls because Doctor Doom's One World Under Doom #1 is the lead book that we're going to be talking about on that show this week. But that's not all. We've got a pretty amazing docket, if I do say so myself. We're going to be talking about One World Under Doom #1, Absolute Batman #5, Aquaman #2, Batman Dark Patterns #3, and Bug Wars is finally making its debut. We'll be talking about Bug Wars #1.
I'm excited to officially review Bug Wars. We had Jason Aaron on, talked about that, but didn't really get into the nitty gritty all as much as we would have maybe wanted to, just to keep up some of the mystery there for readers. So for that, I'm officially hyped because that was a real good book.
Yeah, spoiler, it's really good. So it's going to be fun to talk about it. For me, it's One World Under Doom. I know it's the headliner for this week, but like Ryan North has been killing it at Fantastic Four. It's got RB Silva on art. It's Doctor Doom. This is just a recipe for a Marvel book for me.
I'm excited to crack into Batman Dark Patterns. I haven't done that yet. That all came out on my break, and I haven't hit it yet, so I'm very excited to get into that.
Real cool. The art on that.
If you can catch up, Cale, that'd be great because I think this is the finale to this arc.
Yeah, so each arc is 3 issues.
Great.
Great. I think you're gonna love it. I mean, we've raved about we've raved about the Hayden Sherman work in Dark Patterns. So
that was my book of this month. So
we're doing month books now.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll get
I mean, I'm gonna choose One World Under Doom. I believe this will be my pick of the week. Absolute Batman has been crushing it. There's no doubt. And I think 5 is going to be fantastic, but Ryan North is just proving something with FF. And this is his big shot. This is it right here. If he can nail this down, then he's got a real bright future ahead of him. And I believe in him. So I am rocking with One World Under Doom.
Talk about a slow burn of a career. That dude has been like in the background for almost decades at this point.
Starting at what, Dinosaur Comics? And then
well, even at the big two, he started with Squirrel Girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 2007 or something. Like I remember being at Hastings in Amarillo, Texas when that book first started coming out. Like
crossing over with Zdarsky's Howard the Duck too.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that his history went that far back.
Yeah.
Been around, yeah.
It's crazy.
He's why him and it was Erica
Henderson.
Or why Squirrel Girl is so popular. I mean, is as popular as she is.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So those are the books that we think, those are our predictions as far as like which we think we're going to love the most from what will be on Pals Polls, and you can tune into that Thursday at 6 p.m. to hear our thoughts. These are the books, though, that you can vote on, because one of these books I'm about to mention will make the show. You determine that by going to youtube.com/thecomicspals under the posts tab. You can vote in the listener pick poll. So right now on the poll, we've got Marvel Mutts #1, which was a listener submitted book. That is bringing up the rear at 12% right now. Transformers 17 and Geiger #11 are also in that same range, with Geiger at 14%, Transformers at 18%. Winning the poll by an absolute landslide is, of course, the one DC book that we have, which is Green Lantern Corps #1. It almost feels unfair, but it is what it is.
It's #1, too. People are going to be drawn to that, yeah.
I almost expected Transformers would have been, like, once you were reading those off, that typically tends to be, like, people want us to check in. But I'm glad it's this. I'm glad it's Green Lantern.
Could be a split the vote issue too, with Geiger and Transformers both being indie books.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest it was Geiger would have been the winner.
I almost want to see what would happen if Green Lantern Corps wasn't on this, but we've only got so many spots and we've only got so much time to talk comics. So that's the way we let you guys settle it. You hit the poll, you cast your vote, and we take it from there. Speaking of taking it from there, let's take a look at leagueofcomicgeeks.com and let's talk about the heavy week that is this week coming up. I feel like the last couple of weeks haven't been that big. It almost feels like the big two, at least, have been saving some of their heavy hitters um, for this week now.
I want to call out right off the bat Amazing Spider-Man number 67. This continues Joe Kelly's, I guess, introductory. Well, it's Joe Kelly, but like his return to Spider-Man before the big number 1 relaunch. And it's been. I went from severely disliking it to now just being confused with it. The whole point of the current place of where we are, Spider-Man is fighting against all these different champions of Sitarak. He's taking over Doctor Strange's role while Doctor Strange is quote unquote dead. And in his current space, Spider-Man has given up. It's a very Spider-Man No More type story that they're going for right now. And it's just like, okay, this doesn't really feel like Peter. But this issue finally brings the Juggernaut into play. He's been like sniffing something's wrong with Sitarak this whole time. So now him and the X-Men are finally coming into the fold. And I like me some Kane Marco. So could be interesting.
It's worth pointing out that this issue 67 is written by Justina Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Who's been sharing duties with Joe Kelly. I haven't loved this run. I've been on record about that. But this is what we have to get through to get to the Pepe Larraz, Joe Kelly era, which may not be much better. We'll see.
And Andrea Bricardo on art, as I finally got that looked up.
Nice.
I'll call out.
Yeah,
please.
I'll
call out the Immortal Thor number 20. Got that hot Alex Ross cover with the great big wheel. You know what that means. Your big boy Thor's back. He's coming to lay some spanking on little boy Thor. Look out. You got Al Ewing on the writing duties. Jan Bazaldua on the art. Matt Hollingsworth on the colors. And Joe Sabino on the letters. This is kind of what I've been waiting for with Immortal Thor. I'm positive this will all be incredible collected, but I've kind of waffled in and out with the Roxanne and the movie Thor, the Roxanne Thor stuff, because like this is what I'm interested in. So I'm excited to get back to that.
Coming from last issue, it feels like a good jumping on point too. So for anybody who's kind of fallen off, like myself, this is sort of the place to begin again. Feels like it.
Deadpool and Wolverine number 2 is dropping, and I really, really, really like the first issue. There's no space for it on the docket this week, unfortunately, on the poll or otherwise, but this book is really good, I thought. The artwork by Joshua Cassara in the first issue was crazy good. And Ben Percy just has such a great voice for Wolverine, and I liked his subdued Deadpool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this book goes. I haven't bought a Deadpool book, a book with Deadpool in the title, ever. I don't think I ever have.
Since what, like Joe Casey, maybe? Did you pick up like the Secret Invasion stuff?
You know what I bought? I bought Cable and Deadpool back when Cable's
Civil
name
War.
came first.
Yeah.
I bought that when it was a Civil War tie-in.
That would totally be Deadpool and Cable now. Yeah.
Oh, it was. They put out an omnibus of that stuff, and they switched it up.
changed it?
It's Deadpool and Cable.
Wow.
Damn. That feels like a Rob Liefeld like slight that Cable should complain about. I wanted to go up a little bit on the list here. I actually wanted to call out. I don't think anyone here is reading this. Psylocke. at all.
No.
From Marvel.
Right.
I am. I like Canon as a character. So this is Canon by herself as Psylocke. And this is kind of a fun story. It's written by let's get the team here. Alyssa Wong with art by Moises Hidalgo. It kind of deals with Canon being like, really, she is an assassin, and how does she deal with that in a world where she's kind of has to be a superhero with the X-Men as well. And it's her kind of going off on her own for like side missions, like the Magic book that's also comes out this week. But it deals with her and Grey Crow, also previously known as Scalp Hunter, part of the Reavers, who she has a history with. It's like her on again, off again boyfriend since Hellions, I believe. And it's just really interesting about two people that maybe aren't good people. And that's who they are at their core, but finding each other and then finding their place in the world and also still being maybe not good people. It's a really interesting take on the character. I recommend it, actually.
Oh, it's funny because I was actually gonna stop on that and ask you. I figured you were the only person here who might be caught up. That's a pretty ringing endorsement. I still have the first issue on Red, so I might have to open it up.
Yeah, I'm doing my Psylocke kind of investigation so I can learn to counter her better in Marvel Rivals.
Get into her psyche.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That is not going to work.
I wanted to shout out All New Venom. I really like the first issue. I have the second issue yet to read, but with the third issue coming out, I want to do them back to back. I'm holding out for Paul, man. Let's see who the new Venom is.
I'm just saying, I read issue 2. I'm still convinced it's not any of the characters that it's alluding to.
Damn.
I think it's either a swerve like Paul, or it's just the symbiote. There is no host. It's
We'll
one.
see.
It's one of the two.
We'll see. The mystery is exciting. It's enticing.
It is a goofy comic, though.
Yeah.
Like it is
That's why I
Al
like it.
Ewing being a little unhinged, and it's kind of fun, man. I don't dislike it.
Speaking of symbiotes, we've got a debuting book, Eddie Brock, Carnage, #1. This is something that I can tell you that in a million years I would never want, because Eddie Brock shouldn't be Carnage, and I really don't like the symbiote people swapping symbiotes like that. It just feels a little silly. But they did get Charles Soule and Jesus Saez on it, and that's a pretty strong creative team, so there may be reason to pick this up. I'm going to buy it, but it's going to be a very hesitant buy.
That's like a team that would have been on like a Cap or an Iron Man years ago, you know?
Sure.
And is that a Stegman cover too? No, it's an Iban Coelho cover. Okay, but either way, like you're right, Sean. It feels like when you work in a small workplace and all the people start dating each other. That's how I feel symbiotes and their hosts are. Like, they're always configuring with each other differently.
It's a run club, you know?
Oh yeah.
Not a fan of that at all. But this book it could still end up being good. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you think Sam Wilson, Captain America #2, could end up being good? Because I was going to pick this up just so I can see what happens. That first issue was a slog to get through, but I want Cap. I want to get into some version of it now, and if this is what they're putting out at the moment, maybe there's an in.
I don't like how they're consistently lying to us on the cover by not giving that Red Hulk the mustache. You know, that's not like, this is the other Red Hulk. It's not Ross's Red Hulk. Just give him the mustache. I think it's cool. Just do it.
And it's so weird because there's a Thunderbolt Ross led Red Hulk book coming imminently.
And a pretty good team on that. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but pretty decent team.
Percy writing.
Yeah.
I can't remember the art, but
All
it's gonna
right.
be sick.
One book I want to call out, and I will always call this book out, and it surprises me that I like it so much. So the next volume or arc or storyline of DC versus Vampires, World War V, comes out. This one is Darkness and Light, #1. Yes, on the cover is Alfred as a Green Lantern.
Hell yeah.
We'll go ahead and zoom
Sean,
into that. Yeah, sure. Why
there's
not?
and Wonder Woman is one of like the queens of the vampires at this point. This is written by let's see here, man,
Matthew Rosenberg.
yeah, Rosenberg. And an art by Daniel Bayliss. It's a we've lived in this world for a bit. It's a wild place. Mr. Miracle is like a vampire, but he can't be affected by things. Damien's a vampire, but he's trying to overtake the vampire lords, which include like Batgirl and Wonder Woman, and Aquaman's a vampire, and Grodd is. There's like this whole kingdom of vampires that are all evil, and there's like the Resistance, which is Ollie and Black Canary. But then like Talia, like there's a huge lore and world building that Rosenberg's done here in this like World War V. That's a lot of fun. And right now, the real focus is on like, is Damien the savior of humanity, even as a vampire, or is he the end of humanity? And it's Talia and Alfred kind of being the polar opposites of who raised him, and where does he go from there, and what can that entail? It's a really fun book. I hate that I like it so much.
Sometimes with stuff like this, I hear about it and I think, oh, I got to do my taxes. And I remember that I've been 47 since I was 17. And it just like, boy, none of that appeals to me. But I'll tell you what does appeal to me. Chainsaw Man number 193 comes out this week.
Damn.
And I'm not caught up. The last time I did Chainsaw Man, I binged the entire thing, and I think I'm very close to jumping in again. So I'm pumped about it. I just want to remind people Chainsaw Man's still coming out.
And it still slaps, potentially.
Yeah, I bet it does.
The last book that I wanted to talk about is Mine is a Long Lonesome Grave. It's an Oni Press book. And I really, really, really wanted to talk about this on the show, but there's just not enough space. The reason why I was so excited about it is because it's by Justin Jordan, and he did the Luther Strode book that was very popular when it was coming
Oh
out.
yeah.
He's a good guy. We met him. I think it was Marco and I met him at New York Comic Con. He was a really good guy.
Yeah.
And but I didn't read Luther Strode, so this is my first opportunity to read something by Justin Jordan, and I'm definitely going to give it a shot. So the synopsis is a brass-knuckled gut punch of revenge horror torn from the forgotten corners of Appalachia where magic and murder go hand in hand. Harley Creed is a bad man. He used to be worse, a violent ex-con with a string of brutal crimes in his past. He only wanted one thing when he finally walked free from prison: to leave Briar Falls, West Virginia behind and disappear forever. But Harley's hometown has a strange way of swallowing people whole. Call it a consequence of the low-level folk magic that has permeated its darker corners for generations. There's more to it. That to me sounds really cool. It's by a creator who I've not checked out before. I'm definitely picking this up. Oni Press. Mine is a long, lonesome grave.
I like how something that dark and serious is right next to the Powerpuff Girls Valentine's Moi Moi Kissy Face special #1.
Hell yeah.
But if you can check out Luther Strode, I love that book. It's Travis.
Highly recommend it.
Also did All New Ghost Rider. Travis Moore, is it? Tradmore. Yes, Tradmore, who worked on that as well. Fantastic book. Really, really fun.
Sticking around that same area, Welcome to the Maynard #3. This is a cutesy book, very it's by Jay Bone, James Robinson, classic style about this magical hotel that this person is a bellhop at and is trying to solve a mystery in the background. Pip and Sam trying to do, some justice. Cutesy classic comics, feels a little Tintin, and the art style just sells it for me. So I recommend this to anybody who's kind of interested in that flavor.
All right. So that leaves only one thing to do, which is to put the spotlight on one of the pals who are then going to spotlight a book that they really want to talk about. And this week, Tyler is up to talk about one of his books he's been enjoying.
So I might have mentioned this book at certain points throughout my tenure on the show. But it's one of my favorites. So this is a book published by Silver Sprocket Press that was originally a webcomic written and drawn by Alec Robbins. This is Mr. Boop, the
Oh,
collected
Hell
edition
yeah.
from Silver Sprocket. Um, where do we even start with Mr. Boop? So Mr. Boop is Alec Robbins' take on giving a big middle finger to copyright. That's kind of what it really summarizes into. It's about him writing himself as Mr. Boop, Betty Boop's husband, more like wife husband really. And it starts off as kind of just like a parody of that, but it just expands and snowballs to crazy depths towards the end of it. So what just starts off as like fanfic of somebody writing themselves in a relationship with Betty Boop leads to Sonic the Hedgehog trying to snipe Alec so that he can get with Betty Boop, but then Peter Griffin shows up and I think Goku at one point.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all of this in the most soap opera graphic sex involved. But there's one point where I think Alec Robbins, the writer, is in bed with Sonic the Hedgehog and Peter Griffin, and they're all smoking
Yeah.
cigarettes.
Yep.
It is bonkers. It gets into the idea of who am I as a person. Betty Boop leaves him at one point. It is insane.
Yeah.
And I think towards the end of it, it became more than a comic. I think Alec Robbins turned it into a trans multimedia experiment as well, with photography and video of him coping with the idea of the end of Mr. Boop, and it becoming a full-on mental examination of himself. It's so good. You can get the entire collected version on Silver Sprocket's website, Silver Sprocket puts out some fantastic quality hardcovers and books. They're one of my favorite like indie publishers. I think this is collected in soft copies too, in like 3 or 4 volumes, but the hardcover collected is great. It's got like the nice, it's not leather bound, but it's got like that cloth kind of spine. It's like a weird square format. It's all also free online if you want to check it out and just read through it as a webcomic. You totally can do that. But this is something you should bring out to the subway and read on the subway so people ask you about it. Because it's fun. It's all black and white. It's drawn very crudely. Oh, I got to be careful about what page I open up here.
Yeah, I don't want to see Peter Griffin.
Yeah, I literally just opened up one of Betty Boop in a cat costume giving Alec a lap dance. But yeah, it's crudely drawn. Just fun little things, and it comes with I think a sticker set I was given. Yeah, there's a sticker here of Sonic the Hedgehog. You can't even see it. There it is. Doing the Sonic Adventure 2 pose, and it says, "Why won't anyone have a threesome with me?"
What the fuck?
Oh, Bugs Bunny is a recurring character in this. It's all parody. It's all under the guise of like fair use. And it's just so good. Alec Robbins is one of my favorite creators of comics, and I will read anything, watch anything, listen to anything he does. Real fun. Great Alec Robbins cameo in Vera Drew's The People's Joker, by the way, which is a movie you should check out. Very good movie.
He does stuff on, or used to, on, was it the Eric Andre show?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of humor you should expect from this book, too. Very irreverent, kind of out of nowhere. Man, I love Mr. Boop so much.
I don't think that in the history of this show, or maybe even the main show, that I've ever had so many varying facial reactions to something that someone was saying about a comic. That was crazy. And
You know what's funny is we've been talking about Mr. Boop on as the Comics Pals for years.
Yeah.
Totally. I just didn't know Peter Griffin was in it having threesomes with Betty Boop. Like, what kind of comic is that? That's so bugged out. But that might be enough to get someone to go out and buy it. So
it is 18 plus. Don't give this to your kids. It's graphic, but it's a lot of fun.
Cale, I gave you a copy, I think.
I can't reach it. It's at like the bottom of a massive stack of stuff. Do you remember what his signature was?
Oh my god, I asked him to do something. I asked him. I don't remember what it was, but I asked him to write something in you, just like a crude comment at you.
Yeah, he called me a butt or something. I don't remember.
Something like that. Yeah. To that, Tyler, I have this is a cover I can show. Crime Hot, the follow-up series.
Oh yeah.
Not of Mr. Boop, but the stuff he's doing afterwards, and still talking about sexuality, talking about like what a future looks like in a post-capitalistic society. So there's a lot of themes. There are 4 volumes out as
I
of
gotta pick that up, yeah.
2023, and you can check out my interview with him at SPX 2023. And we got into like this, a little bit of Mr. Boop, and some other stuff.
Well, one of the stickers I'm looking at, I forgot I had the sticker sheet, is it's Bugs Bunny, and it says, "I hope Bugs Bunny isn't having sex with my wife."
Wow. All right. Well, thank you for that, Tyler. And thank you all for listening to this week's edition of Pals Previews. We do this every single week. Let us know what books we need to be checking out, what needs to be on our radar. We shared those books with you. Share them with us in the comments below. We will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you next week.